Trident Wargaming. Build it, paint it, play it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Trident Wargaming episode. That's right, more bolt action, Warlord game stuff, that kind of stuff. Of course, with me is Jason.
Howdy.
There we go. It's ready to rock, right? Just make sure I don't mention a certain phrase and then get his grinding his gears.
I'll get my gears grinding, Andy.
Yeah. Good stuff. So, yeah, welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of a recap on our latest event for our D-Day event that we just had. So we're going to go through that, kind of go over the missions, not really over the missions, but kind of how you liked it and whatnot, and the boards and how the games went, how the day overall went. It was super, super cool to see the players out there. First off, so I'm going to say thank you to you guys if you guys are listening. Thanks for coming out and made my day, especially seeing you guys play on the boards that I worked on. So that was great. 3 games we had, which were pretty cool. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We also have some other stuff coming up, more of kind of what's next, and also with that kind of the next year's kind of plan of what I kind of want to do with some bolt action and whatnot, and Blood Red Skies, that kind of thing, with Jason's help, of course. So, but we will start off with the usual, the hobby front. What's going on? What have you been working on? Even if it's not, bolt action or anything like that.
Well, I'll tell you, Andy, leading into the event, 2 weeks before the event, I had 2 models painted for it. So I really, that's what I did.
He hustled.
And I got sick in that time period too, so I lost 4 days out of my 2 weeks paint schedule. So I got an army paintish. It's all base colors, and I think I threw a couple of highlights on here or there. Yeah, they were done. They were done technically.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and after that frenzy of working, coming home, painting for a little bit, making supper for the kids and hanging out with them for a little, and then when they go to bed, painting again until I go to bed, and then waking up and painting, and then going to work, and then doing the whole thing over again for 2 weeks. I'm taking a break.
Fair enough.
That's what I've been doing.
I was going to ask you how do you really feel, but
yeah,
good enough. It
was good though. They all have a good solid. I didn't want to rush them,
yeah,
and make them look terrible. So they all have a solid base coat of all the colors, and so now I can go back and do all the things to make them pop.
Yeah, and
I can do that a squad at a time at my leisure. But I do have that army locked in at that point, so I feel good about it.
Tabletop ready to rock.
Tabletop ready to rock, and now I can go back and at my leisure do all the detailing and highlighting and shading and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
Put in the extra little details and finish her up. No, that's a great way of doing it. Like, I know majority events. Actually, this was our first event that I had put required painting, which was great because everybody actually came with a painted army. right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't going to hound anybody if they didn't have, a unit done or whatever kind of thing, or they didn't have time. Okay, that's cool, whatever, right? But yeah, it was great to see everybody was painted. They looked great on the board. Didn't matter at what level of painting that you were at or how far you got done on your armies, but just seeing them on the board with some color on them,
Yeah.
it was great. It was good to see. Even even our one of our local players here got an army done, which he actually put some time and effort into it. And usually he doesn't come out with a painted army, but he got one done.
Yeah.
And that was great. Like, that was awesome to see, right? So, and
And it makes it look better. Like the tables,
yep.
makes the tables look better. It makes the game more fun. And even being a guy that is a procrastinator on painting, obviously, even just those base colors at tabletop height, I mean, they might as well be Golden Demon winners. From the
Yeah.
level of eyesight that I have, I mean, those could have been the best painted models in the world when I'm standing at the table.
Yeah.
Don't pick them up. But if standing, so it doesn't take a whole lot to make an event look super good. Just with that, so I'm on board with painting requirement for tournaments or events.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that big of an ask.
No, it's not. And like the way, I didn't play in the event. Almost had to. And I had an army ready to go, but I would had to borrow Bill's army that was already done, right? Or I would have to use my Axis force if somebody dropped on the other side. That's done as well. But I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, well, shit, I don't have time to paint an army and do the terrain.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way, right? So I just kind of felt really good that, hey, I put in some work into getting some of these tables done up, and I'm glad to see that the players put in some work as well to get their armies to where they got them, right? So,
totally. And the tables look killer. And this is going to sound selfish. If you're the guy that puts in the work on the table at your event, and you're getting these pictures, and it.
True.
It's not a thing, but it's a thing. It's
well, and that's, you always want to kind of promote that, and like, we put it on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff too. We also want to show that, hey, we're not just playing grayscale. Like, these guys are actually legit. They're playing and they're painting. It's all part of the hobby, right? To show that this is what the game is. Like, between the difference between bolt action and 40k is that you look at the tables, and I can tell that that's a Tau army. I can tell that that's a demon army. Bolt action, that looks like an infantry, but I don't know from what army.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does make it honestly, from the player's point of view, it does make it easier to identify even your own models.
Yeah, for sure.
When they're all gray, it gets, and you mixed up and
grayed out.
One might say that, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I'm happy with that, and honestly, that I am a guy that enjoys the game more than the hobby now. I used to be hyper into the painting, and that's kind of fallen away for me a bit, but I appreciate it still, and honestly, that's the best way to get me. Let's just say, if that wasn't a requirement, I wouldn't have had army painted.
The drive to do it, yeah, and that's a lot of people. Like, I'm actually, you probably can't see it underneath the spotlight there, if you're watching on YouTube, that is. But I have like 17 bikes that I need to get ready for the Victoria trip that we're going for another system. So, like, 2 days from now, from this podcast. We're recording. We're recording on Monday, so I got a few more days. But yeah, so just getting them done, and then like the army's done. I don't have to touch the army again. It's done. They look beautiful, but yeah, whenever and I've heard it from so many people. Whenever there's an event, it gives you that motivation to get stuff done because you know you need to. It's a deadline, right? So
yeah, and I mean part of it is I'm an idiot. I don't need as many armies as I have.
What?
But
do you know who you're talking to?
Gosh, is it fun? Yeah. What period do you want to play? Which side do you want to play? I love having all of that, and especially since Elias, my son, started playing, I've been looking at sets. So
nice.
Not just should I get this army? It's I should get this army and their like classic opponent.
Yeah,
for sure. So really, that's doubling it up.
Yeah, and we'll go into that because like that's part of what we'll talk about right after this. But like 3 games in, we had the 8 players come out. D-Day invasion theme was successful, of course. Seemed like the games all went well. I didn't have any really bad feedback or anything. Only thing was maybe one of the missions that the score was kind of a little high. But funny enough, at the end of the day, when I tallied up points for both sides, there was only a 2-point difference.
Yeah, it was balanced. It was a high scoring scenario, but it seemed balanced. I didn't end up playing that scenario.
Yeah, and that was the first time, because all these scenarios that were put out there, like I customly made it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know me and Jason had trialed a few of them, and then I tweaked some, and then some. There was one mission that I literally had made like 2 nights before, and that was one of them, right? Because I wanted to put scoring. You were scoring every turn, right? And you don't really have that in bolt action. But it made it where it was, you need to get to the objective. You need to be there every turn to get the points and stuff. So,
I will say this as, so I played the D-Day, the beach landing.
Yeah.
The, Breakor banner.
Yeah, the trenches and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. What the H was the third one I played? Dang it. It'll come to me. But the which one?
Did you play the Bocage or did you play the? No, you played the village with the double agent.
Oh yes. The double agent village. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the beach landing scenario I loved. It was really good. It was challenging. We didn't know who was winning until the end, and it was close. I think I won. It was like 14 points to 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was still really a near miss thing, because you got 10 points based on who had more units in the German deployment zone.
Yeah.
And I eked that out. So that pulled me up, but he was really hammering me crossing that board. And to be fair, I was playing Canadian Scottish who landed on D-Day, and I made my list as themed as I possibly can using the rules. Nice. So it was really kind of set up for landing on a beach. I had a DD Sherman. I was loaded to bear. I had engineers. I was ready to go. So I was ready for that scenario.
Nice.
That being the theme of my army, kind of worked out when I heard we're doing a D-Day event. Yeah, D-Day army is exactly what I want to do. And so it was really fun. I liked it. The scenery was amazing, and I love that you switch because originally you were going to do the full board, which would have looked
Yeah.
cool. But I really like the modular bunkers and the fact that you could throw that on a beach.
Yeah.
For D-Day, you could throw it on a beach. You put a couple palm trees, boom, you're on an island in the Pacific. You can throw that with some trenches, and you're on a grass mat, and you're just at a defensive line somewhere. The modular terrain, the way it worked out, and I think I'm going to steal it and do it, is that's the way to do it for those kind of tables.
It is. It is.
It
And we've had that discussion before too, right? Um, like you're saying, it's kind of the way to do it. Because I think, and actually, I talked to somebody at the that day of the event that I think it was Stefan I was talking to, but it was like I was explaining to them like my original plan of what I was going to do, and I said to myself, you know what? I don't think I would have had it ready.
yeah.
Like, so I'm kind of glad that I pulled the plug on that, and I talked to you and I talked to Bill about it, and it was like, and then of course I seen the one guy's post on Instagram, and that's kind of where I got the idea of doing that. And I was like, this is so much better. One, it's the one big thing for me was it's easier to store, it's easier to transport.
Which is
Uh,
a big deal for most people. Most people don't have a huge area that they can commit to storing that kind of stuff. And even the guys that do, storing a table
yeah.
is a lot, because you're not
Oh, it
going to want
is.
to play. And I mean, maybe there are guys that do up a table, they play on it for 6 months, and then get rid of it, and then do another one. I guess maybe, but even guys with dedicated spaces or big areas or lots of storage, it is a big commitment even for them. So
Yep.
when that's a limitation, it becomes impossible. And then what would you have done? That's the thing. Like in reality, it would have been awesome, and then it would have been a hindrance.
Yeah.
It would have been your bane. It would have
Yeah.
been behind you, blocking all your stuff.
Yeah. Behind all my other junk that I got back here. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No,
yeah,
it's
no,
it's
I'm
true because like I was actually storing those big sheets of the foam that I was working on. Like you can't see it if you're watching on YouTube. You can't see it off screen here, but it took like I have a table back here that's like 72 inches, I think, or something like that, no, or maybe more, and it would have taken like at least half of that, if not more,
yeah.
and it would have been in the corner. And then I remember moving it around, and it was just like, no, this is no, this has to go. This is too much. Like I can't do this, right? So luckily enough, I didn't have to pay for that foam. Thank you, work. Um, but going back, the modular terrain is a very smart way of doing it, especially when you can make these pods. You know, I can, hey, you know what? Tony missed out on the event. He wanted to, have a battle. Cam missed out on the event. He wanted to have a battle. You know what, guys? Bring two armies. I'll bring the pod. You guys can go at her on a Saturday or something, you know?
Totally. And that's how I roll with my scenery at home too. I have, and I got to get more pods, big boxes with my scenery quasi organized. So I have like a French village. I have my airfield. I have Stalingrad, a couple of boxes for Stalingrad.
Yep.
It's just a bunch. It's too much, but so I can grab kind of the theme and go to town,
And roll
set up
with it.
a set
Yeah.
up a table, and I'm only taking a tote.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I mean, I mostly use it here, but for the times where I take it somewhere, it's super handy. A tote of trees, for instance.
Well, yeah, and that helped out a lot, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
So
yeah, terrain was obviously great. You heard it from Jason there. Of course, I'm going to say it's great because I made it, but um, they worked
and then,
out. Go
oh
ahead,
yeah,
Jason.
yes. Oh, sorry. Go continue. Yeah,
No, no, go ahead. You're going to
I,
say.
I was just I kind of sidetracked into the terrain, but I was really talking about the scenario.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that first scenario. I think the most. I think they all played well, the ones that I played. But this one, I was really. It was a nail biter right till the end, which I love. Those are the best games where you're at turn 6 and you're like, I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know. It's, I mean, so it really forces you to, and it, you can't lay back because you're winning or you feel like you're in the power position. You're always going. Both sides are pushing hard to win. It was a fun game.
yeah,
I I liked the scenario. I liked how it worked out. I liked that there was lots of opportunities to make points. So it wasn't. There was multiple ways you could get the win there,
yeah,
which I kind of like because it's maybe without multiple ways, it's sometimes easy to you know uh, hold off the opponent from scoring points. Or it's easier at least, or easier from if there's only one victory condition to prevent them from getting it.
yeah,
Where there's multiples, it becomes a little bit harder. So, yeah, I had to be careful about losing too many casualties because if he destroyed units, especially ones carrying satchel charges, I was in trouble. But at the same time, I had to get across the table and get in that deployment zone. And also at the same time, I really wanted to try to target those bunkers. But then it became a decision: do I target the bunker or do I go past the bunker to get into the deployment zone? Because the bunkers were just outside the deployment zone.
yeah.
So, I liked it. It was a nail biter right till the end. It was fun, and it
Nice.
looked hella cool.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's great to hear that, and it was great to hear from Mike, who this was the first time he came out to one of our events. He said he's been out to a lot of events, and he said it felt refreshing. It felt different, and the missions were challenging.
Nice, yeah,
So
big time.
it's awesome to hear that and to just see the pure enjoyment in people's faces as they're playing, or they have those moments of excitement, or something happens. You're like,
Oh
stuff,
yeah, oh man,
stuff happened, or you see you see your Polish war bear walking up the
up the
up the
beach.
beach. Yeah.
I love it.
So that was great.
Yeah,
So no, that's
yeah,
cool. It was good. It was successful. Definitely like to see that happen again.
oh for sure. The Breakcore Manor scenario too was super intense. I It was because here's the thing, it was actually quite open.
Yes.
Like the whole table, you had cover. There was quite a bit of light cover around, but unless you're a guy in the trench, there was nothing. You were
Yeah.
really exposed, so it was brutal.
Well, and it was
I,
meant. It was meant for like. Well, I mean, one, it was themed, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
And not all themed tables are going to be balanced.
No,
But
and I loved that. And it ended up being balanced in a way, uh, because yeah, one side had not very much cover, but they also had a super clear line of sight, and they were given the opportunity to deploy, I think it was 4 units in the trenches, like up
Yes.
forward.
Yeah.
So they really could have. There's different ways to play it. So I like that. Like, do you? And to be clear, anybody listening, the trenches are where the objectives were. The attacker started outside of the trenches, obviously, had to approach the trenches, and then there were 4 cannons or artillery pieces that they had to destroy uh, in order to get an absolute victory. And then you got 3 points each cannon you destroyed, I think, otherwise.
Yeah.
And then the enemy got points for each gun that was left. I think, again, 3 points. And they got points for murder, death, kills, I believe. I can't remember. But so it was intense. And in that game, both of our armies were almost almost wiped out.
There was also the one little secondary objective is if you actually defeated a unit in close combat.
Oh, that's right. You might capture the orders.
Yeah, you might find some hidden orders and score some points that way, right?
That was the other way. It wasn't a kill point. That was the other objective. Was the and yeah, that came into play. We didn't end up rolling any orders, but we had a couple units, and it's fun because would I have normally have gone for a charge in that circumstance? Maybe not.
Yeah.
So it kind of like, it changed the way I played a little bit, which I think is kind of cool when a scenario does that. And it was intense. My guys were getting hammered coming across, approaching that trench line.
Yep.
But I managed to get in, luckily, and then start. And I also, so I got into the trenches, which is great. I took out the unit that was immediately in the middle. I took out that gun really quick. And then he brought some guys on, and I had to decide. I had 2 guns to the one side and 1 gun to the other. And I probably couldn't have pushed to both sides. If I did, I would have lost. I know that. So instead, I pushed. I forewent the automatic victory by destroying all 4 guns, and just went for the 3, and hoped that I managed to keep enough points that way. And I did. It worked out. But I love it when I'm forced to make a decision, and I did it in the middle of the game. I got up, I got that first objective, I was kind of moving forward, I was getting hammered too hard. I had 1 unit that just got blasted into oblivion.
Decimated.
Oh yeah. Decimated implies 1 in 10. This was murdered. This was absolutely murdered. So I ended up making that decision. Like, okay, I wanted all 4, obviously, but I can't in all realness achieve that objective. So I went for the next best thing, and it worked out. But I keep saying, any time a scenario makes you alter the way you would normally play, the scenario is successful. Because why else do you play a scenario? Otherwise, you just play scenario 2 from the book.
Yeah, deathmatch. Yeah.
And everybody walks on. And it's a great scenario, and it's perfect for a pickup game, and it's easy, and there's not a whole lot to it. And that's great. But when I'm playing a scenario, I want the nitty-gritty, game-changing experience, which I got in that scenario too.
Nice.
And then the third scenario I played was the captured hidden agent.
Yeah, the double agent. Yeah,
double agent, and that one was fun too. It really, I mean, I got I had no luck finding that agent. I deployed. I moved just pell mell to the freaking objectives, and we had to roll for each objective marker there was like 5 or 6 of them or something.
Yep.
And we had to roll to see if that was the one that had the spy in it, or the double agent. And I can't remember what we needed to roll. It wasn't even that.
It was a 6. I'm pretty sure it was a 6 that you needed.
Okay. Oh, that's right. So we had 6, and then if you got to the last one, that would be the one.
The location.
So I got one. No. Cleared that objective, I guess. Next one, boom, I hit it right away. Second turn, boom. Nope. Third objective, boom, I hit it. I was aggressive. Boom, nope. My opponent's hitting it. Boom, nope. Boom, nope. Last one was deep in the center and quite far back to his side. It was already a hurting unit trying to get across, and he was able to get there, and despite my best efforts, despite charging in with the flamethrower successfully, he was still able to get it just out of my reach. And as soon as he did that, I was toast. But I liked it. It was intense.
It's almost like, I don't know, in my head it was almost like I was trying to make some movie scenes, like some battles or just scenarios that you would see from World War II movies or whatever, right? And
totally.
And that one had a little bit of it was a little different than most missions out there as well, because not only was it that they had to find this secret operative or whatever, double agent, however I put it in there, the spy, which was funny enough was hiding in the well.
Yep. Yeah.
But not only was there that, but you were restricted to moving 6 inches because he was injured. Essentially, the Axis forces were chasing him down, and you're coming in to intercept as an ally force. So he's injured, so you could only move him 6 inches. You couldn't hand him off like the other generic mission where you can hand off, because I really don't like that one.
No, it's too easy. I've seen it like...
turn 2 done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's too easy to cheese that one, even by accident, even when you're not trying to cheese. It's too easy. So I like the no handing off.
So there's that. On top of that, there's a little element of environment in that where you're fighting at nighttime. Now,
which, by the way, I liked your night fighting rules better than the game rules.
Yeah.
The game night fighting rules are, I mean, I guess they do what they got to do, but they're kind of a pain. This was so simple.
Yep.
It was just an additional save. It made it harder to hit unless that unit happened to shoot.
Yeah.
So if you're targeting a unit and that unit hasn't shot, you have an additional -1 to hit.
Yep.
Which by the time you add on, like, oh, he's probably got light cover, or, as long as you're not stupid, you're hugging some kind of cover. So you got light cover, usually, maybe you're at long range, then you throw in this, and if you're a spot, geez, it made it just that little bit more difficult, and also made you think, well, am I going to activate this unit and shoot? Because if I do, then I'm giving away that modifier. It's really easy to keep track. It did play enough of you might think like it's just a -1, but -1 can be significant. So it did play into how we decided what units to shoot first with. And there were units that weren't shooting till the end of a turn.
Right.
And that was, you could tell was, both me and my opponent, you could tell was kind of, that was the thinking. Like, oh, if I shoot this guy first, I like the fact that my opponent has a -1 if he wants to hit this guy. So you're kind of risking it. And again, that goes into, well, I'm playing the game differently than I would have.
It's a different element. Different element, for sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't complicated. It was simple. It didn't change the range of guns. It didn't
No,
do
it only
anything except for add a modifier.
had a modifier, and the only thing it changed was if you had a foobar roll.
Oh, that's
So
true. Yeah.
the distance. So because the whole concept is it's nighttime, your units might be engaged with the enemy. It's harder to see because shit's happening. And if you rolled a foobar instead of 12 inches, I increased it to like 18 inches
18. Yeah.
to
Which I like. We didn't have it happen, but
just to represent that, like
confusion.
confusion is even worse at nighttime.
Yeah.
So, and you could add other things to it, but like I mentioned as well, like I try to keep any of the game mechanics or extra rules that I put into the scenarios fairly simple and not too overcomplicated.
Yeah.
I was a little worried that the beachheads might have been a little overcomplicated, but they weren't. So that
No.
worked out.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to play that scenario again. I loved the beachhead scenario. I think it was simple because this is one thing. The beachhead scenarios that they have in the books, they're cool, but they're actually quite involved, or a lot of them require pretty specific forces, which I've talked about it 1,000 times on here. I love playing scenarios. I love doing those special specific forces for
Yes,
those
you
scenarios.
do.
But this would work in a pickup game with any force you chose on a regular old night.
Yep.
It was that simple. Any of these scenarios would work with any force at any points value and still manage to change the game. I was really impressed. I, not
Thank
that
you.
I didn't think the scenarios would be good. I thought they'd be good, but they were even better than I thought. I really liked the scenarios, and I really am going to get you to, because I don't have them, print them out. They should just be a thing.
Yep. Yeah, and
They worked out so good.
if anybody's curious of the missions, I'll link it on the description of this podcast as well. I do have an episode where we actually did go through the podcast or the mission
D-Day.
for the D-Day invasion actual mission.
Yeah, and it played out exactly like we thought.
Yeah,
it would. Like because it's a little bit different when you're playing it to test it, because you're really trying things out, and we kind of changed a little bit in while playing.
Yes,
and so it's a little bit different than when you're actually playing it. Because when we were playing it, we had the at the event, I had the scenario set up, but so I went pell-mell. This is where I'm, whereas when you're testing it, we're going for like, let's test this part out and let's do this. So it's not exactly a full game, but I really think the scenarios were on point. Scenery was on point, matched. It was great.
Nice.
I had lots of fun.
No, it's good to hear. I'm glad that it worked out like that, and I think everybody's on the same boat as you, Jason, with the just how you felt about it. So I'm pretty proud of it. That's kind of the one thing with us here at Trident is we try to do some quality events and whatnot as well. We tend to put our heart and soul into them. It's our passion. So if you ever get a chance to come out to an event, please do so.
Make the trip.
Yeah, exactly. Make the trip. Take the plunge. We'll definitely have more events coming up and whatnot. I'm hoping I'll have a bigger one next year, possibly, for Bolt Action. I'll have to do a lot more advertising for it. Just try to get more numbers. So we'll try that at some point.
And really, people should, because what was the cost for a person to join? I can't remember.
I think I had $35 at
35,
$35, and that included a lunch. So
included a lunch, 2 burgers and fries and potatoes and
yeah.
like a
So
decent lunch.
yeah.
And I think there was coleslaw or salad. I don't know. I didn't eat the salad. I don't eat salad. But,
Pure.
so you get a decent lunch and 3 games with
Yep.
good terrain. Like, not, there's been other people have seen videos of some events with
Yeah.
some
No, I hear
no
you.
bueno terrain.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally. I'm stoked. I'm stoked for it.
Good. Yeah. No, we'll. I mean, we talk all the time, so we'll definitely plan something out for that too. Um, I definitely do want to hit the other side of the world, like the Pacific, at some point. So there might be a couple of maps like that as well, like boards to build. Just lots of ideas in the head. I'd love to do an airstrip. You know, um, hangars, planes, kind of all over the place. Maybe in the desert or something like that. Get model kits. Attacking a sub pen would be pretty cool.
Sweet.
So and I might do that next year. I've kind of planned out. Speaking of next year and what's next is what we'll go into here. But stuff like that where it's like I kind of plan to get a couple more tables done every year.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm really going to push on it, then like I'll get more than just a couple done. But
Yeah.
I would like to create again tables that you can throw into a pod and bring it out at any time, not just for a D-Day event, at a big event, but I can run a tournament or I can run a narrative event or historical event, and I'll have tables to run for that style of theme. Or if it is just a tournament, then you can have a big mix of different tables. And the nice thing about it is a lot of them you can play just with the generic scenarios, but with each of these pods I'll specifically have a scenario to go with those pods. So just like the D-Day pod, that mission will be laminated and put inside that pod too. So if guys want to try it out, they can try it out. Right?
Yes.
So stuff like that. So yeah, so what's next? What's your plans? What do we got going? Myself, we didn't even talk about my painting, but you know what? We already talked about the terrain, so
yeah, that's what I thought.
There you go. Woo! Got that one done. So yeah, so really, what's next? So essentially, that was the last event of the year for me for Bolt Action. We do have other events happening for different systems. Systems that Jason doesn't play anymore. Boo, 40K. No, just kidding.
Sorry, I don't want to remortgage my house, Andy. Jeez.
Yeah. So, doing kind of some thinking and whatnot. Okay, so what's next for myself? Essentially, looking at, well, actually, I've already pulled it out, but some Blood Red Skies. I got some boxes of planes and whatnot to kind of assemble and actually put some paint on. It's nice because it's a very small amount of miniatures to actually paint and whatnot.
And they come together pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's
one piece.
Well,
usually.
most of them are just built for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you pretty much just got to clean and prime, and then it doesn't take long to paint them.
No, it doesn't. Do some research on colors and like markings and stuff, and if there's decals out there to grab them, can order them. So there's that, and that be also like getting them kind of prepped for. Jason had mentioned he wanted to do Blood Red Skies campaign using the newer book there, the Wing Commander book, which sounds awesome. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm so stoked. It'll be sweet. The rules are awesome in it. It really makes me think of Mordheim.
Nice. It's the
But with blades.
second time I've heard that today, actually. Is
Mordheim.
somebody's describing a game to Mordheim? Yeah. No.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Mordheim?
I know.
Nobody
Right?
I like, that's for sure.
Why haven't they remade it? So
don't even.
There's a podcast on that actually. There's a YouTube, not a podcast, a YouTube video on that, why it hasn't been remade, but that's a different topic.
Oh god.
So there's that. There's the continuation of the British Army that I was starting to build. I don't have I do, but I don't have an allied army that is even close to being like complete. So I said to myself, well, let me start from fresh. The Soviets are in a little bit of trouble because there are some repairs to do with them, so they'll take time. So I said, let's start with the British Army, doing brand new, do some research. 3rd Division, I believe was going to go with, based off of
D-Day.
D-Day. So I'll still do that. And then on the side, I'll slowly bring it out a little bit of black powder.
Nice.
That was the other part of the event that was nice to see. Is Mike and Andrew there? They play the black powder a fair amount. Mike had asked me if he could bring out a little demo kit, and I told him, yeah, sure, bring it out. I'll set up a table for you, and got some interest from a few people, and he had a little demo in between the breaks and stuff like that, which is great to see, to promote that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna see if possibly whenever we do have events, if I'm at that event, hosting a bolt action or whatever I'm hosting, might be able to pack just a little table with a small mat that, hey, you know what, do you want to show guys some Blood Red Skies or whatever, right? Stuff like that, just to bring the interest to other players to see what games are like, because I mean, between myself and Jason, we do have a fair amount of games, plus
all of them. I think.
Yeah, exactly. There are other players who do play those more obscure historical games, right? So that will be on the lists as well. Of course, plus a whole bunch of other projects from other games, but I'm not going to go into that. So look, you'll be seeing a lot of that kind of stuff coming out on Instagram. I'll be taking lots of pictures. One thing that I will be doing is starting to do a little bit more videos for, this is how I painted this army. This is how I painted the camouflage on this plane. That kind of stuff, right? I know I've done a couple of those. The DAC army I did, it actually did quite well. So I'm very tabletop, pretty simple, just to give people, an idea of how I do it, what I use, that kind of thing.
I could do a video on this is how I procrastinated with this army. This is how I put off painting this army.
First, we start at the gray stage. 3 months later, we're still at the gray stage.
Yeah.
But
I could tell you,
we put him on a base.
I am a very efficient builder. Model building, I don't know that anybody has me beat.
Jordan's pretty quick too.
Painting, I fall behind.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, I probably have 1,000 miniatures painted.
True.
But it's 3/4 of a dozen armies.
Epic.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Jason? You have do you have any ideas of what you want to kind of work on next? And
Well, I do have some planes coming in. So for this campaign, I'm planning on doing the Blue Nosed Bastards American
okay,
squadron. So or American fighter group. So that should be fun. And also I have some uh, B-26s coming in. So that should
are
be,
those bombers?
yep. So those
Nice.
should be fun to do up. So a little bit of that is what I'm hoping to hit next. And then, yeah, I don't know. That's my big push is I want to get a bunch more of that done because also I got to help my little guy catch up. He needs to have his squadrons ready for
That's right.
some British Spitfires for that. So we're doing the ideas. We're doing a late war or mid to late war bombing campaign
Okay.
in uh, northwestern Europe. So, and we have our German player, American player, British player, and I can't remember what you went with. What was your choice?
I don't think I even picked.
Yeah, but so and
I didn't know if we had to balance out or
oh
I
no, it
guess
doesn't matter.
because
Doesn't
yeah,
matter.
I have Americans, but I can also do Germans at some point here too.
There you go. Maybe two Germans
Yeah.
and yeah, and then we're gonna level up our squadrons, make our squadrons. Level up our guys. Hopefully, not lose too many of our favorites. We're gonna get support characters, the whole shabazz,
Nice.
uh, and follow their trials and tribulations from 1943 till the end of the war. And so that should be fun. I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Again, a lot of stuff going on. Of course, those plans probably change all the time, but that's kind of the idea of what we have planned. So, I mean, you'll see pictures and whatnot. And I guess the big thing is for next year. I know I talked with Jason about this, mentioned it to Bill. I'll have to reach out to Chris, and of course, we'll get your son involved as well, Elias, into this campaign. So essentially, I want to do a campaign with you guys. Just a small group. We'll pick sides. We each have enough different armies to play as those sides and whatnot. But actually use like the combined arms rules, and having our forces on this hexed map and maybe even like recording down like what forces you have there kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
keeping track of that. But we can do scenarios, we can do different battles, you can use these theater selectors and stuff to face each other, and play that stuff out and have our, have like a good 3-4 month thing happen with a campaign, and also involve Blood Red Skies, your campaign, in it as well. So,
Oh yeah.
it's kind of the idea of what I want to do. I do have the maps, so we can use that kind of stuff. I do want to be able to do those kind of fights and like work on our armies. And once the armies are like fully kind of done, and you know what, there's probably already armies that we have that are done, which is
Mm-hmm.
perfect, but doing this kind of thing, and who knows, with the way we set up things, maybe next year might even try to film a battle or a scenario, and share it with you guys, kind of thing. I'd love to do that kind of stuff too, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, map-based campaign are always fun. The only thing with them is I know if they get too big, too many players, then it kind of ends up dying off. But if you have like a small crew who are dedicated to playing it, or you can cover for each other, so which is fine. We're pretty flexible for games and whatnot, and we can share that kind of stuff with you. Share those war stories, those moments, how the battles went, stuff like that. Might even be able to write up a little battle report on our webpage for you guys to read up on, and our findings of the game or the units we had, what survived, kind of thing. And then just playing the scenarios and essentially just sharing it with the audience of what's been going on and how the war is continuing, kind of thing, for this game that we love.
Nice.
So that's the basis of the idea of it. So I know in the next couple months here I'll have a decent little break, which I'll start to work on this kind of stuff. And then I had a web page kind of done up years ago for the start of a campaign that I was going to do with the community. And I think I shared that with you a couple times just to check it out. Yep. But it'd be one of those things I'd like to use and actually have like, this was, Jason's army list, show you what he had brought in his army, kind of thing, and the battle that happened, right? And have the territories kind of change hands on the screen, kind of thing, so you guys can see the progression or the battle line. It's kind of a grandiose idea of a campaign, but I don't do anything small. So, yeah.
I love it. I'm sold, Andy.
Nuts. So yeah, so that'll be great. I got to talk to Chris about that too. I'm sure he'll be down to play that. But and the thing too is to, Bill will jump in as well. So he can jump in and get some games in under his belt too. And it's just, I like to incorporate, Elias in there as well, so he can get some games, have some games, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He'll get a kick out of it.
And again, it's obviously just all for fun, so yeah, that's kind of the path we're going. I try to change it up a little bit and try to get more of those war stories for you guys in the new year here. So you'll definitely see it when it starts to happen. I might do a little ad for it. So I got some studio stuff that I like to work on to try to get it going. So yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at for Bolt Action.
Nice.
And underneath anything under the umbrella. So the only other thing is I still haven't picked up my French, so look for that too.
Oh yeah. Plastic.
Yeah, I actually got to do an unboxing on that thing.
You'll actually be able to carry it.
Yeah, it's not going to weigh me down and buckle my knees. So, yeah, I figured I'd pretty much go and get probably 2 of the infantry box sets because I have everything else, right?
Yeah, you have everything, yeah.
So, which is great. But yeah, and I think that pretty much takes it for this episode. Any little thing you want to add in there, Jason?
Da. No, I don't. I think that's it. I'm good. Event was great.
Nice.
Lots of fun. Stay tuned. Come to the next one. Fly in.
100%. And Jason's always been there for the events and helping out, so appreciate it and thank you as always. And thanks to Dusty as well for bringing some stuff out. Definitely made the boards complete with his landing craft as well, which reminds me I'll have to order more of those. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You'll have more of it coming later on. I might have like another episode this year, um, mixed in with everything else. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Please check out the socials. Thank you to our patrons as well, for checking out our content and supporting our contact. Our content, I should say. Even if it is that cup of coffee, keeps us awake as we're hobbying and whatnot. So yeah, check us out again. Tune in on for the next few episodes. We have a lot going on between 40K and Age of Sigmar now. Plus, we're still doing Bolt Action and expanding into some of the other games like Victory at Sea, like Blood Red Skies. So we'll get a lot more of that kind of in the mix. Check out our events. It's always appreciated, even if you just swing down to check it out. So, but until next time, keep rolling those dice, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
Yeah.